Dear Jewel, I left you with a few things to always hold on to. Loyalty, elusiveness, and brute force.
You're watching the GameSpot co-op stage, sponsored by LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Welcome back to the GameSpot co-op stage here at E3 2016, brought to you by LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I'm Jeff Kanata, and I am joined by Danny O'Dyer,
How you doing?
Ashley Esqueda, and the Senior Community Manager for Crystal Dynamics, Megan Marie.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, we are excited to have you because I was not aware of this, and it kind of makes me feel old.
Right? Yeah.
But Tomb Raider turns 20 years old
It
this
does.
year.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
It's amazing, though. It's a big year for us, yeah.
So,
Where did the time go?
Yeah, 1996, the first Tomb Raider came out.
Yeah.
And here we are 20 years later, and it's still going strong. I mean, my video game show, DLC, we named Rise of the Tomb Raider as our Game of the Year last year.
That's amazing. That's so wonderful to hear.
Yeah, so that is a franchise that is definitely still going strong.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about this big anniversary for you guys.
Yeah, so throughout the year, we're trying to do a whole bunch of different celebrations to just, again, celebrate what Tomb Raider and Lara Croft means to the industry and means to the fans. And so we've announced a couple of different projects. Firstly, we came up with a really cool logo, and I love this. It's a very carefully visually designed so that it doesn't look quite like classic Lara or you know, the modern rebooted Lara. You know, is it a ponytail or is it a braid or is it pants or is it shorts? And so it's just really cool celebration
It's
logo.
Pan Laura.
Yeah, so but you recognize the silhouette like instantly. You know, that's Lara Croft. And so that was something really fun that we did to create this banner for our celebrations. And then we announced a couple of projects already where we have an official 20th anniversary book that covers the breadth of the industry, of the franchise, from video games to comics to the movies and the fans. There's 100 pages dedicated to just our fans in this book, which is something that I'm pretty proud of because our community is wonderful. We also announced a music suite, the Tomb Raider music suite, which is the original composer from the first three games, Nathan Cree. He's reimagining the tracks, and he's doing a concert, and it's going to be really cool. So we have a couple of other 20th anniversary announcements, some cool merchandising and other things coming up in the future. So we're trying to stagger a bunch of celebrations throughout the year and really dive into that nostalgia.
That's great. Ashley, as a girl gamer, Lara probably has a very strong place in your heart.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is there were so few female protagonists. I mean, I really identified as a kid with Samus. I mean, Samus Aran was the jam. Like, that was it. And then it became Lara Croft. Yeah. Like, that sort of ushered in my teenage years, was spent like hanging out with Lara in all of the different, doing puzzles and everything in Tombs. And for me, I think it was really refreshing, and I didn't realize it at the time. It's just one of those things that now, looking back on it, it was so exciting to me to see somebody that was not just tough or only sexy or only smart or only one thing. It was all of those things. And I've always felt that, you know, being obviously like growing up as a gamer who loves games and is also a girl, like, people always thought that was really weird, but I was just like, well, look at Lara Croft. Like, Lara Croft is a hero, so why can't I be in games? Like, so it was always a thing that I felt really strongly about. Like, I championed that, and I thought that was really important, that it didn't just have to be, oh, she's really tough, but she's not sexy. Like, it can be both, and I really appreciate that. I mean, that's like that's the best thing about Lara Croft.
It's funny now because I grew up very much a similar story, and I know I hear that story echoed across a lot of, especially women in gaming. But I grew up, and she inspired me in so many ways to be brave and bold, and to, you know, really push me even to try my hand in a male-dominated industry, working in gaming and so on. But the funny thing is now she's younger than me. I know. She was my idol growing up, and now in the rebooted universe, she's younger than me. But I love both versions so much. You know, like classic Lara inspired me to be brave and strong and bold.
The blue tank top, the shorts, the posters. Like, I mean, it's such a great iconic thing.
Yeah.
And you know, at the time you see it, and now it looks so silly. Like, you look at everything, but it's like, oh man, it was so like realistic and cool, and wow, look at, like, she's jumping and running and doing all this crazy stuff. Like, I loved it, and it was It was really, again, like you don't realize it at the time, but it was really important to me.
Yeah, you
as a
couldn't
gamer.
necessarily articulate it. Like as a 12-year-old, I didn't know why representation
But
was
I
so
loved it.
important.
I just
but now
loved it.
I look back and it's like I didn't have much in common with her. She was, a British gun-toting
Rich.
archaeologist.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Very well off. But she was brunette and she was a woman, and
now she looks up to us.
Yeah, well, I think that the new Lara, rebooted Lara, continues to inspire me, especially because she shows true bravery through adversity and
Sure.
like teaches you that like vulnerability and being human isn't a bad thing. And
Is
and
it
so it's a way
weakness?
for
It doesn't mean
it's
weakness.
definitely something I draw inspiration from too.
Yeah, Danny, I'm curious. It seems to me that the pattern of the path of this franchise mirrors in a lot of ways the pattern and path of the video game industry as a whole. Here we have a character and a series that started as basically a riff on Indiana Jones or something, very simplistic, and now these last two games are so much more nuanced and so much richer and so much deeper and have a character that is really written as well as any film character is. And I think that shows where we went as an industry, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there aren't many game franchises which last 2 decades, like just across the board, especially not one that's been led by a singular character. So in that respect, Tomb Raider is incredibly sort of singular in that respect. I mean, I think about my own love of that franchise. When I first got a PlayStation, the Lara Croft and Tomb Raider was the franchise that I attached myself to immediately. I remember, like at Christmas, I could only ever get one video game, right? That was my present. I remember, I guess it was 98 then, so Tomb Raider 3.
Yep.
That year, getting my sister had to pick it up in England because there was no copies left. She brought it home, and my mother was like, "Why are you She thought it was a game about grave digging. It's called Tomb Raider. I was like, no, it's not.
Grave robbers. That's basically like, oh, I have to steal from all these dead people.
Sure, right? And you're right. Like, there was a dark path in the middle there with Angel of Darkness, and some of those games didn't really hit off really well. I mean, Crystal Dynamics picked up that ball, and when they sort of reinvented Tomb Raider, I mean, twice now, basically.
Yeah. But I mean, the foundation was there, and the foundation is what made it so strong. And Core Design did a wonderful job in creating this game where you could actually interact with these incredible 3D environments. And I think, it's easy. Lara Croft is amazing, and obviously, like, she's the reason that I fell in love with the games first and foremost. But the world and the technology and the environments and the puzzles and T-Rexes and all these things, like that, the gameplay was so incredible, and that foundation that they laid, allowed us to really run with the franchise when we became the stewards of it. And so it's been an incredible journey. Looking through it has been really incredible.
It's an amazing time period, and here we are at E3, and there's so much excitement around a game like God of War that's being sort of rebooted.
Yeah.
And I feel like what we're seeing from God of War is very exciting, but wouldn't have happened if there hadn't have been a Tomb Raider. I think it learned from that. It's in that same.
Well, so many games were inspired by that. I mean, Uncharted. If you think about all these like amazing, incredible games.
Itself.
Yeah, it's literally like this time is a flat circle. Like, you think about all these amazing games that are these action adventure games that have some puzzle solving elements in them, and really Tomb Raider was the genesis of that in terms of sort of 3D gaming on PlayStation. And I mean, that was it. And so now to see kind of what it's evolved to, I mean, we're also lucky to be gaming right now, like to see these amazing games, and it's not just one franchise, it's so many.
I mean, that's a very good point. Like, for a long time, there were 3D action games, but they were predominantly shooting. And I mean, you go back and play the first Tomb Raider game, the amount of downtime in that, like for most of the game, you're spent exploring. I mean,
the isolation is incredible.
Yeah.
You don't get that a lot.
There's a wolf maybe every once in a while, but
bears.
Yeah, so
terrifying bears.
Scary
run and hide in the water.
And then in Uncharted 4, you've got these long stretches where you're not doing anything.
Exploring, climbing, doing Nathan E. Drakey things.
Yeah.
All he needs now is a butler he can lock in the fridge, and we're gone.
Exactly.
One of the best moments in
Right?
franchise
I think it speaks to the power of characters and characters that persevere, right? I mean, I think you could put Lara up against, alongside Pac-Man and Mario. She is one of that pantheon of characters that has been around that long and endures and continues to be relevant and continues to represent. I mean, we've had films of Tomb Raider, but it represents video games, I think, in a large sense.
And I think that she definitely transcends gaming, even though, being so important and pivotal within gaming. I mean, going to the the 2 comic series with Top Cow and Dark Horse and the movies, and we are having another movie coming out, and we've got there was an animated series at one point in time. There's over 10 models, and so there's a lot of it crossed boundaries, and Lara Croft in 1997 was on the cover of The Face, which was this British fashion magazine, and it was the first virtual character to be on The Face, and they allowed her to interrupt the masthead, and it was just like this moment when they realized that Lara was really transcending gaming, that she was a pop culture icon.
So what's next? I mean, you mentioned a new film. We've heard about some casting on that.
Yes.
But what's next for the video game franchise? Are we, she's continuing to rise? I'm assuming.
So. I think there's some destiny to be fulfilled, but I'm not going to say anything more than that.
All right.
So it's an exciting time to work on the franchise, and knowing that the future is really bright, and that this year is all about celebration is really great.
Yeah.
Especially for longtime fans. I'm right now on social channels. We're doing every 2 weeks. We're doing a deep dive on another game. And so right now we're doing Tomb Raider 3, and every day we're posting this little tidbit, and a lot of stuff. It's really fun because I wrote the 20th anniversary book, and in that process of writing it, I uncovered a bunch of stuff that even I didn't know, and I kind of thought that I knew. I thought I knew a lot about the franchise, but there was all this stuff that I had never even heard of, and so we're taking some of those tidbits and we're putting them online, and it's just this huge nostalgia trip. Everybody's having so much fun with it, and so we uncovered this Tomb Raider 3 launch trailer that was only shown at the localized launch trailer at the localized launch event in London, and we found it and rezzed it up and put it online, and
wow.
So we're finding all of these things that are treasures from the last 20 years.
Are you able to go back and play those games? Are they available? Are they on GOG?
Yeah, you can go to Steam. You can play all of them.
Rating the
on
archives.
Steam? They're on Steam? Really? Oh wow, I didn't know that.
And I think they're great.
Yeah.
I replayed Tomb Raider 2 a couple of years ago, and it held up well. I remember it was as hard as I remember it being.
Right.
Yeah, that was a tough
Very
one.
hard.
Boats
All the
and
fire traps. They're just terrible.
Well, that's cool. Well, 20 years of Lara Croft, 20 years of Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Where can people find out more about the year-long festivities?
Yeah, well, TombRaider.com, and then specifically we have a hub on our Tomb Raider Tumblr account, so it's TombRaider.tumblr.com, and we're keeping an updated schedule. But just use the hashtag TombRaider20. That's what all of our posts are through.
Awesome. Well, we got lots more coming at you from E3, so stick around and keep us tuned in.